What are the biggest challenges that young people today face who are looking for life partners and are unable to find them?
Wow, that's heavy.
You are a therapist.
I feel like dukti rag pe pav maar diya, you know, like in my friend circle who actually did get married, I don't think any of them felt truly ready. They just took the plunge. I bump into a bunch of like aunties, you know, the aunties, bro.
We see you.
Right? Yeah, we see you. बेटा मैं तो कपड़े लेके तैयार खड़ी हूँ. ये बस मौका मिल जाए पहनने का. अब like आंटी हो तो कल पहन के आ जाओ, कौन सी बड़ी बात है, right? हाँ आंटी मैंने पकड़ ली है, अब मतलब कर लो, you know, आओ सारे आ जाओ पार्क में आ जाओ, शादी कर लेते हैं. You know, like it's not like
just to make society happy.
Do it the way you want to. Don't listen to society.
Hello and welcome back to another Love Handle where we get unfiltered about love and relationships. Today I couldn't be more pleased to be joined by our resident village elder, also the go-to friend for all and any of my relationship problems. Welcome Karthik, thank you for joining us.
Thank you Chandra. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
Alrighty, so you have a ton of friends who've gone through relationship woes, you've worked with other people. I want to really understand what are the biggest challenges that young people today face who are looking for life partners and are unable to find them?
That's a big one. I feel like, well, most young people are looking for a life partner, right? I feel like their demands of what they're looking for is justified.
Yeah.
You know, in most cases, it's always people who are asking for someone that's kind, respectful, loving, caring, you know, all the positive,
basics.
Yeah, the basics.
Right.
But I don't know, it's always something or the other that, you know, gets missed out, right? And then people are like, let's make it a fling, let's make it a situationship. What do you want to make it? Like, how do you convert? I feel like that's the real problem.
So do you think that people are reluctant to really lock it down and commit to a single person because of the abundance of perceived options that are out there? And so rather than trying to make it work here, I'm just going to like string them along and look for other people at the same time?
I think it's very natural for us to, you know, view all our options and then still wonder if there's more out there.
Grass is greener effect.
Yeah, that is one of those. And apart from that, I also feel like maybe at times indecision also gets to people. Sometimes you're just stuck and you don't feel like deciding. I mean, in many cases, I've seen that people feel like they're not settled enough to like have a marriage, you know.
Interesting.
In my friend circle who actually did get married, I don't think any of them felt truly ready. They just took the plunge.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is there even such a thing as being 100% ready?
I don't think that exists.
So I think all of us need to like relinquish from our attachment to this perfect picture of like what life is going to look like. A big part of entering a marriage is taking a leap of faith in full acknowledgement of the imperfection of the situation and embracing the complexity and the challenges that are going to come along the way that you both are going to deal with together.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're constantly sold the idea of perfection, right?
Yeah.
Marriages that we know, while they look perfect, it's actually a lot of hard work as well, right? And the people that are willing to put the hard work in are the ones who really care about their partner deeply. And I feel like the people who actually did manage to get married were the people who did that inner work. And I feel like in today's day and age, modern families are about that, where you rework the household expectation to make the whole thing more conducive for marriage.
That's so interesting.
So
I want to know, a lot of single people out there are watching their peers, people their age or even younger than them, settle down, get married.
Yeah.
We've been there. But to what extent does this impact one's mental health, and how can one maintain their mental health in the midst of these circumstances?
Wow, that hits home, you know, because I mean, I feel like you and I both, and many other singles out there, going through that societal pressure. I bump into a bunch of like friends, family, aunties, you know, the aunties, bro.
We see you.
Right? Yeah, we see you, right? And it's always, और खुशखबरी कब बता रहा है, you know, like तेरी कब होगी, बेटा मैं तो कपड़े लेके तैयार खड़ी हूँ
भाई
कि बस
साहब।
मौका मिल जाए पहनने का, राइट? I'm like, आंटी वो तो कल पहन के आ जाओ, कौन सी बड़ी बात है, राइट? बट let's talk about the ones who are looking, right? It becomes like a दुखती रग पे पाँव मार दिया, you know, like, bro, I'm trying,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
I'm trying to find someone who, you know, meets my vibe.
Exactly.
You know, I'm not just gonna like go out of my colony and find the first single person and be like, हाँ आंटी मैंने पकड़ लिया है, अब मतलब कर लो.
Right. Right.
You know, आओ सारे आ जाओ पार्क में आ जाओ,
And
शादी
just
कर
to
लेते
make
हैं. I mean, you know, like it's not like
just to make
yeah,
society happy.
our parents are that very society that we both love and dread. So I feel like work always begins at home.
Yes.
So I always like tell my parents like, yo, like I respect your wishes, they're my wishes too, but we gotta do it right.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not trying to promote Verona, but I honestly feel like this is exactly where Verona comes in, where we're not looking at it the traditional way.
If we can't have a conversation.
If I can't have a conversation,
Exactly.
you know, it's not going to go anywhere.
Exactly. The pressure is real.
The pressure is
and
very real.
What I really respect about those of us who are navigating this is that we are unwilling to lower our standards or settle in light of this pressure, right? Because
Most of us are.
yeah.
But many of us do succumb. And the ones who do succumb to that societal pressure often end up in bad marriages.
True.
Please do not succumb to pressure.
Right.
Do it when the time is right. Do
Yes.
it when the person is right. Do it when get married the way you want to. You want to have a big, lavish, ostentatious wedding, go ahead. You want to have a simple court marriage, go ahead. You just want to walk into a temple and just do mala exchange, go do it the way you want to, you know, whether that's a destination wedding or if it's
Right.
getting married in the comfort of your own home.
Yeah. And
Do it the way you want to. Don't listen to society.
how does one still keep hope without just becoming really depressed about everything?
I literally had this conversation with someone yesterday.
Yeah.
I don't think that you need to base your hope on expectations. And for those who believe in like a higher power, the universe, and they're constantly hopeful, those people actually get up and they put in the work. But when you get hopeless, it takes away from wanting to put in the work.
Why bother?
Why bother?
Right.
You know? And frankly, if you give up and if you stop trying, you're definitely not going to get into a relationship. Right?
Our parents, our families, our friends, and in general, how our upbringing impacts and influences our perception of love.
Wow, that's heavy.
You are a therapist.
Like I've seen parents who maybe don't say I love you, but know that they'll, you know, constantly feed their
Cut
kids.
fruit
You know,
for
like yeah, fruit kaat ke rakh diya, you know, like the plate is always full, you know. We've seen families where, you know, I mean, I don't want to stereotype, but like, you know, like the dads who never say sorry, but will always be like, khana kha liya, you know, like,
Or like pick you up from school.
yeah,
or,
they
like,
pick you
drop
up from
off,
school or
like,
drop you
yeah.
off, or, you know, or the expression of love, you know, is different for different families, different communities. I think the one thing that people need to understand is that they need to look at their own definition of what it means to show love and the way they receive love. Because more often than not, people walk around with a set expectation of ऐसा ही होता है, you know, relationship में ऐसे ही करना होता है, which is far from the truth. So I feel like if we actually thoda sa put in the work to like look within and understand ki how can I express love better and how can I receive love better, it might change the way I start looking at people, and it might change the way, you know, you are towards a potential partner.
Correct.
You know?
Yeah. You work with a lot of young people, a lot
Yes.
of high school students. So, in what ways have you observed the face of relationships changing among young people? Because everyone's either seeing someone, but it's way more fluid.
या जैसे हमारे टाइम पे लाइक बैक इन स्कूल क्या ही सोशल मीडिया था, नहीं था. सो यू नो यू वुड फिजिकली स्पेंड ऑल योर टाइम with the other person, like the presence, right? Like you would do things together, you would share silence together, right? I don't even know if that's a concept anymore, because the second, let's say, you and I are done talking, we'll just like switch to our phones and be like, oh, let me like get like 20 things done. But when was the last time people actually like shared silent spaces together? Like I feel like that depth of connection is probably losing over time. There's this person I know, right? This guy, and he was at that time looking for, people to get married to, and he was on all the conventional platforms and whatnot. He was interacting with this girl, and he would often like come to me and be like, I don't know, she seems a bit cold, she seems a bit off. Her responses seem very like monosyllabic. I don't think they're dry. I don't think she's into me, right? I just told him, you know what? Why don't you get on a phone call, right? कितना ही text कर लोगे? Call कर लो, right? And then after the calls, he was like, हाँ ठीक चल रहा है, but I don't know. And again, that sort of indecision was setting in. And then at some point, it just clicked for me. I don't know how it clicked that maybe he's just bad at texting. सब कुछ अच्छा है, but if you're bad at like texting, your perception of the other person is completely skewed.
Correct.
Then I was like, you know what? Just stick to phone calls.
Yeah.
बातें ही करनी है, तुम कॉल पे ही करो. Okay? They've been married 3 years now. Okay, like so.
Shut up.
Yeah. So what happened was like, so after they got married, and like I met the girl, and beautiful human being. I love her, and she was like, dude, he's such a bad texter. She was like,
That's
dude,
crazy.
she's like, had he not called, I would have thought this guy is not interested in me. And she said the same thing about him. She was like, monosyllabic texts, like his texts are dry. And I was like, dude, he thought the same thing about you.
Yeah.
So like the first perceptions can be so off sometimes,
Yeah.
And if you're just gonna base it off of like the first perception and you're like, oh, I'm not catching a vibe, try something different.
Yeah.
How can you judge so much about a person based off of like WhatsApp, dude? Like, do better. Come on. Change the medium. Change the medium.
Never rely on texts anyways.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Meet the person in person and then reject them, chahe.
Text doesn't convey tone. Text doesn't convey
Body
emotion.
language,
It doesn't convey
expressions.
anything.
That's a really good
And
point.
text only, like when you're texting each other, it's half the problems begin because of texting. Because you don't know how the other person's writing in what state, and you're assuming.
तो इमोजी के ऊपर होता है कि उसने ऐसे इमोजी क्यों भेजा, मुझे पैसिव अग्रेसिव, बट उस बंदे को लग रहा हो कि मैंने तो बड़ा अच्छा इमोजी भेजा.
उसने ऐसे लाफ्टर इमोजी कैसे भेज दिया? आई एम श्योर ही इज ट्राइंग टू से समथिंग सीरियस, बट ही डजंट वांट टू अफेक्ट माय फीलिंग्स, तो उसने मुझे लाफ्टर भेज दिया. माय फ्रेंड हैज टोल्ड मी दिस. आई एम लाइक, वो सच में हंस रहा है यार, वो लड़का है, वो डायरेक्टली बोल रहा है. नहीं, उसका मतलब क्या है? कॉल, मीट, मिलो, like, go on a date.
Great advice.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for watching another episode of Love Handle. If you enjoyed this video, do be sure to hit subscribe, like the video, share it with your single friends, and leave in the comments what we should ask our resident village elder next time. Bye.